Hello everyone, this is our next video of Fortinet NSE4 series, and this video is a continuation a topic of firewall authentication, and this video will learn the LDAP structure and radius structure and how we'll configure these authentications on the FortiGate firewall. Let's begin the video. So start with the LDAP structure. The LDAP hierarchy represents the organization it serves. Root represents the organization itself, usually defined as the domain control, and FortiGate must be configured as a part of hierarchy where user account can be found. This is called as DN, or distinguished name, and the CN, common name. It is the single value attribute that serves as the object relative DN. So let's understand in the deep way how this structure works. So if you see, this is the DC is equal to ABC and this is equal to com. So this represents the organization that it serves, which I just show you. And this is the general representation of the LDAP. So in LDAP, this is called as a root, where it represents the organization hierarchy, and also this is called the OU. This is the second part of this organization. We also can be specified as a, this is the hierarchy. The first is the root, then this is the OU, then this will become the OU. This is the also part of this hierarchy, and then here we have the CN, means that these users are present. This whole structure, it is called as a distinguished name, also known as the DN. So why we are learning on this DN? Because when we going to configure LDAP servers on the FortiGates, then these DN values are required on the FortiGate side. So there is, like, first thing, this is the root. Second, this is the also a part of that hierarchy. This is known as the OU, and this is the users. CN is equal to user. This is the canonical name, and this is known as the organization unit. So we can consider this way. This is the main root. Here we have created one container. This container is known as the OU, means that different department, different types of OU can be there, and this looks like this way. Those all OU will be part of this root, and in this OU, you can consider that these OU will represent some department like sales, HR, IT, and then here we have that CN, means that the canonical name. So user will exist on this CN value. So this is the structure of the LDAP. And about the configuration, so we can configure this LDAP server. We have to provide the name, and then server IP, and then server port. This is the 389. This is the LDAP port. Common name identifier. This can be a UID or SAM account name. Both can be used for the common name identifier. Directory tree attributes that identify the user. So this is the directory tree used to identify the user. So here we can configure the UID or SAM account name, which is used for the Windows, or I would say the domain controls. And this is the distinguished name. I just explained that the part of hierarchy where user recordage exists. So this is the OU, and this is the DC is equal to training AD, and this is equal to DC is equal to training. So it means that we have to define the whole path where the actual user is exist. So using this DN representation, we have to define it. And this information we can get from the AD team, from the organization who manage this AD server. They can give you this DN values. It is not needed as a firewall administrator. These values we can easily get from our domain team. Here we have the bind type. So this is the bind type. We have to select as a regular, means that you have to define the user and password. So this is the user, and this here in the user field, username field, we have to define the LDAP administrator, user ID and password. After that, once this is done, we have to test for the connection, like test connectivity and test user credentials. Using this way, we can verify that our LDAP connection is working fine. How we can see from the FortiGate perspective, let me show you how it looks like on the FortiGate side. So which I just show you the screenshot, I can show from the FortiGate side. So if you click here, then in this case you have to define the name, this will be the test, and then server IP or FQDN. Here we have to define the port number. If this is CIN, we can use as a SAM account name, and here we have to define the LDAP. Once we add the server, this can also fetch the information from LDAP. If we apply this regular, and here we have to apply the username and password, then test user credential, it is used to verify the user accounts, and test connectivity, it is used for the connection from the FortiGate to the LDAP server. And if we select this secure, then it will use as a LDAP yes. So in this case, we need to define the certificate here. Which certificate is used for this encryption, because LDAP is a non-encrypted communication, and when we switch to the LDAP S means that it will secure. We require the certificates to encrypt it and decryption. So this is the thing for the LDAP. So let's understand about the radius. So radius is the much different than LDAP, because there is a no directory tree is considered. So I just explain you that in the LDAP we have the DN representation, where we have to define the root level plus the OU level and then CN level, which represents the canonical name of the users. And the radius is standard protocol that provides the AAA, means that authentication, authorization and accounting. So this is the one diagram which represents that how this authentication will work. So I just explain you that radius is the standard protocol that provides the AAA services, or that is the authorization, authentication and accounting, known as the AAA. So once that we configure this radius client on the FortiGate firewall, where the user is trying to connect, it will send the access request. Then from radius server it will reply either accept or access reject. If the provided username and password is correct, then access accept will be sent to the FortiGate, and if that user ID password is incorrect, then access reject will be sent to the FortiGate, and in that case the third will be the access challenge. So in this, let's say we configured any second, or I will say that multi-factor authentication, in that case it will return as a access challenge. On that case, we have to define the second authentication that we configured as a MFA. And this is the configuration of the radius server. We need to define the name and then authentication method, and also the name and shared secret key. This is provided by the radius, and test user connectivity. It is used to test the connectivity. Point is noted that FortiGate must be listed as a client in the radius server. All server will not reply to query by reply to FortiGate. So it means that from radius server side, the FortiGate must be configured as a client in order to get reply those accept or reject message, which I just show you from the radius server. Let me quickly show you how we can configure the radius server. So here we have to define the name, and we have to define the access method default. If we select default, then PAP, MSCHAP and MSCHAP2 will be used if I select default. Or we have to define the we have to specify the authentication method, and this is okay. So this is the NAS IP, and here we have to define the primary radius server name and shared secret key. Once we provide both, then we can use test connectivity and test user credentials. To test connectivity is used for the for connectivity from FortiGate to radius server, and test user credential it is used to for that particular credential it is successfully able to authenticate from radius servers or not. And this is the secondary radius server. I would say it will take as a primary, and once this primary is not available, then the secondary radius server will take place for the authentications. And the last topic for this video is that testing the LDAP and radius query on CLI. So it is recommended that when you configure the LDAP and radius, LDAP or radius as authentication in the FortiGate, these two command is required, or this is two command is basically perform authentication against the username and password to check that this provided username and password successfully able to authenticate from the radius or LDAP servers or not. The first command to test the LDAP connectivity. So diagnose test auth server LDAP external server, and then AD user training. So this is the server name and this is the username and this is the password. So what we will get, authentication AD user 1 against external server is success. So it means that we are successfully connected to LDAP server, and this is the group member C. This is the canonical name AD users. OU is the training. This is equal to training. This is equal to training, and this is equal to lab. So this is called of root level, then OU level, and this is canonical name, that CN level. These are the containers which is defined on the LDAP. The second command to test the connectivity for the radius server will be the diagnose test auth server radius and then server name and then scheme, then user and then password. That is scheme means that authentication method basically. Now this is the example: diagnose test auth server and then radius, then FortiAuth radius. This is the server name, then PAP and student and Fortinet. So PAP is basically authentication method, and we can see that remote ADS group membership, then group membership are provided with the specific attributes configured on the radius server. So we can successfully connect it to the radius server. So these two commands are why we need to verify that, because let's say if we having any issues on the authentication, so it may cause to the other problems while performing the authentications of the end users. So it is recommended that before going to any authentication services, we need to verify those credentials which is working fine or not. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy this video very well, and thanks for watching Firewall Experts.